Geometry, Unit 1, Lesson 3. I can describe and identify the intersection of lines and planes. So, let's take a look here. And we have, for us, the word intersection. And intersection basically means to meet or to touch. And so we want to see how lines and planes can actually meet up, how they can touch. So let's dig in and see what this looks like. So two lines, if you think about it, think of these two pens as lines. They can meet in one place like this at a single point, or they can never meet. What does that mean? They're parallel. And occasionally, if they're the same line on top of each other, they're going to meet infinitely everywhere along that line. And those are the three different ways that two lines that are in the same plane can actually meet up. Once, never, or an infinite number of times. The most common way is once. So let's go ahead and set up our examples. So for once, here's a line. Let's sketch another one. And right here, these two lines are intersecting once. They're doing it at a single point. Now, we also talked about how two lines may never intersect. And that would be if they are parallel. And finally, you have the infinite case, where two lines really are just on top of each other. So you have one line like this, and then another line is placed directly on top. This happens with systems of equations sometimes. The most common one you're going to see, though, is this one right here. Two lines in the same plane intersect just once when they intersect. And you can think of a real-world example, perhaps like two different roads, and then maybe this here is called Tennyson. Maybe this one here is called Calaroga. And then they both meet at this intersection right here. Now, two planes you want to think of like a wall and perhaps the floor. So imagine this here is the floor of the room you're in, and this here happens to be one of the walls. And think of them like planes, flat surfaces, okay, and imagine them extending forever. And so where do the two flat surfaces intersect or touch each other? And you can see actually it's right here. And here, and here, and here, and here, and here. In fact, they touch each other all along that line. And if they extend forever, that means so does this line of intersection. It's extending forever. So think of this as a wall, and this is the floor. And they intersect each other all along that line. So let's go ahead and sketch that situation. This situation is a little bit tricky. So I'm going to go ahead and make a plane that looks like this. And then I'll make another one by putting a dot here at the midpoint and a dot here at the midpoint of these two line segments. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up a little bit, bring this down here, bring this up the same amount, let that meet up, this along, drop this down, and I'm going to drop this down in a dashed way, a little dotted. That tells me it's behind or underneath this plane. Same thing here, it's coming over. It's dotted because it's behind it. I can't really see it. And then as soon as it comes out, I can see it. I make it solid. So think of those as two planes coming together, and they are going to intersect each other all along this line. So for this one, along a line, is how the two planes intersect. Now there is a never situation, if you can think of it. Imagine a plane like this, like your ceiling, and then imagine a plane like this, like your floor. They never intersect. How come? Because they're parallel. And then yes, you could have a plane with another plane flat on top of it, and this would be infinite because the two planes intersect or touch each other at every single point. But again, the most common situation we're going to talk about is this one here, two planes intersecting along a line. Now, the last thing, think of a line and a plane. How can they intersect each other? And there's quite a few ways to do this. I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of paper here. To demonstrate this, imagine this piece of paper here is a plane. And here is one way a line, this pen, and this paper, this plane could intersect. Imagine, if I turn the plane a little bit, that the line comes up and through. There you go. So the line intersects this plane where? Well, you can see it's touching only right there at a single point. In fact, if I remove the line, there it is, the single point. So I'm going to sketch a plane, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show this line coming out of it. I'm going to do a dotted thing here because the line is technically underneath the plane right now, and then I can see it again. So right here, the line and the plane intersect once. And where is it? At a point. Right there. One spot they touch. However, if we keep thinking, maybe here's our plane, but the line is floating above it perfectly parallel. So it'll never dip down and hit it. So here, they never intersect. Why? Because they're parallel. And there is one more possibility. Imagine we have our plane, but this time the line is contained in the plane. And remember, containing means holding. So every part of the line is touching the plane. And this would be an infinite number of intersections. Here, 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 and so on. Plane contains the line. The situation we will talk about most often, however, will be here, where the plane and the line intersect at a single point where it punches through. What would be a good example of this? I had someone say to me the other day, well, think about like a flagpole. There's your flag, here's your plane, and imagine that pole goes into the ground a little bit to make sure it's really weighted down there, right? So it'll stay, even with the wind. And there you go. It just touches at a single point right here. Okay. And then in the diagram for the practice, you can see there are two planes, a horizontal one that's white and labeled P, and a vertical one that's gray labeled M. And it's very difficult to see, but any of the dashed parts are behind this gray plane or underneath the white, like this part here. Seeing where all these different things touch is challenging, but you can do it. Good luck.